Your body is continuously working and doing activities as you go about your everyday. Everything you do includes thinking, moving, and coordinating your body parts. Have you ever wondered how you manage to these things? Which part of your body is responsible for controlling all the activities you do and the processes that happen in your body? The control center of the body is the nervous system. The nervous system directs the other body systems. It controls, monitors, and coordinates all body parts and processes. It also receives information from the environment and makes specific body parts act on that information. The nervous system is made up of the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. The brain is a mass of nerve cells located in the head. Extending from the brain is the spinal cord. Nerves extend from the brain and spinal cord to the different parts of the body. The human nervous system is composed of two divisions. These are the central nervous system or the CNS and the peripheral nervous system or the PNS. The central nervous system is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system arises from 12 pairs of nerves originating from the brain called cranial nerves and 31 pairs of nerves originating from the spinal cord called spinal nerves. The central nervous system. The brain is the largest organ in the nervous system that weighs less than 3 pounds. It is one of the most vital organs in the body. It is enclosed in a hard case of bone called skull. It is made up of billions of continuously interacting cells that are covered by 3 layers of membranes called meninges, and bathed in a protective fluid known as the cerebrospinal fluid that acts as a shock absorber to help prevent injury. It has 3 connected parts: the cerebrum, cerebellum, and the medulla oblongata. The largest part of the brain is the cerebrum. It controls voluntary actions, thought, speech, and memory. It allows us to detect touch, light, sounds, odors, taste, pain, heat, and cold. It enables us to perform complicated actions. Its outer covering is a gray matter called cerebral cortex, which made up of mostly of cell bodies of neurons. The cerebrum is divided into left and right hemisphere. The left hemisphere directs the right side of the body, while the right hemisphere directs the left side of the body. What activities of the body are controlled by the left hemisphere? What activities of the body are controlled by the right hemisphere? The left hemisphere controls activities such as speaking, reading, writing, and solving problems. The right hemisphere controls activities that involve imagination, appreciation, and creativity. The hemispheres is divided into 4 lobes. The temporal lobe is for hearing and smell, parietal lobe for touch and taste, occipital lobe for sight, and frontal lobe for movement and speech. Why can the gymnast perform well without falling? The gymnast can perform well on the balance beam and does not fall because of her cerebellum. The cerebellum controls your ability to make coordinated and balanced motor movements. It allows the brain to send impulses to the different skeletal muscles to make them contract, keeping your body upright position. The cerebellum, a small cauliflower-like structure, is the second largest part of the brain. It is located below the cerebral hemisphere, extending back from the base of the brain. The part of the brain that connects to the spinal cord is called medulla oblongata. It relays information between the spinal cord and the brain. Medulla oblongata controls many of the involuntary actions of your body, such as breathing, digestion, and heartbeat. It receives sensory impulses from the receptors in the blood vessels. It uses this information to regulate the blood pressure. Other parts of the brain include the midbrain, thalamus, hypothalamus, and pons. Midbrain acts as a cellular switchboard to keep the different areas of the brain communicating continuously with the other parts of the nervous system. Thalamus processes and coordinates sensory messages from the sense receptors except the olfactory nerves. Hypothalamus regulates body functions such as thirst, hunger, sleep patterns, and emotions. Pons is a specialized band of nerve fibers that connect the midbrain with the medulla oblongata. The spinal cord. The spinal cord is made up of nerve fibers that carry information to and from the brain. It runs along the dorsal side of the body, which is about as big as your thumb and protected by bones called vertebrae. It receives impulses from the sensory neurons and then conducts these impulses to your brain, which can be interpreted as forms of sensations such as pain, heat, cold, and pressure. These impulses from the brain are relayed by the spinal cord to the motor neurons, which carry the impulses to the muscles and glands of the body. The spinal cord is the information highway of the central nervous system. The peripheral nervous system, or PNS. The peripheral nervous system consists of 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. The 12 pairs of cranial nerves are associated with motor and sensory functions, while the 31 pairs of spinal nerves supply the communication links between the central nervous system and the neck, trunk, arms, and legs. The peripheral nervous system consists of two types of nerves: sensory nerves and motor nerves. Sensory nerves gather information about your environment and your body's condition and send it to the central nervous system. Motor nerves transmit impulses from the central nervous system to the muscles and glands all over the body. Motor nerves consist of somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Motor nerves that transmit impulses to the skeletal muscles under our conscious control make up the somatic nervous system. Motor nerves that regulate activity of cardiac muscles, smooth muscles, and glands make up the autonomic nervous system. It is the command network that central nervous system uses to maintain the body's homeostasis, maintenance of the internal stability of the cells. The autonomic nervous system composed of two opposing systems, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system quickens our heartbeats and breathing in the event of sudden stress. It moves our muscles quickly in the event of immediate danger. The parasympathetic nervous system prepares our body for a restful state and coordinates the movement of smooth muscles that are involved in the body processes. Neuron. It is the functional unit of the nervous system. Your nervous system is made up of 100 billions of nerve cells called neurons. Its parts consist of a cell body, dendrites, and axon. The cell body is the enlarged portion that contains the nucleus of the cell and other cellular structures. It collects the information arriving from many different dendrites. The dendrites are short branch extensions that receive information from other cells and carry impulses or nerve signals toward the cell body. The axon conducts nerve signals away from the cell body. The tip of the axon that transmits messages to other cells is called axon terminal. The gap between the axon of one neuron and the dendrite of another neuron is called a synapse. Neurons differ in size and shape. They also differ in their function. Neurons that gather information from the sense organs and send impulses to the spinal cord and brain for processing are called sensory neurons. Neurons that carry impulses from the brain and spinal cord to the muscles are called motor neurons. Neurons that integrate impulses from sensory neurons and then relate to motor neurons are called associative neurons or interneurons. They act like a telephone exchange stations that connect your telephone line with the line of the person you want to talk with. The sensory neurons have specialized dendrites, known as receptors, that carry sensations from outer parts of the body to the central nervous system. Anything that the receptors of the sense organs collect from the environment is called stimulus. If you happen to step on a sharp object, the receptors in your skin will carry the sensation of pain to the sensory area in your brain. But before the brain receives the impulse, the spinal cord relays the message to the motor neurons commanding the muscle of your foot to move away from the object. When the impulse reaches the brain, it sends a message to the skin and you feel pain. The electrical messages that pass through the neurons are called impulses. What is a reflex action? It is a response that you cannot control. The stimulus, hot metal cover, is detected by the sensory organ, the skin. The sensory neurons carries the information in the form of a nerve impulse to the associative neuron in the spinal cord. Automatically, the spinal cord sends out a response message. The spinal cord gives the response immediately through the impulse sent by the associative neuron to the motor neuron in the muscles of the hand. The muscles immediately move away from the hot metal cover. This automatic and involuntary reaction protects the hand from more harm. The pathway of the nerve impulse in a reflex action from the sensory neuron to the associative neuron in the spinal cord and then to the motor neuron is called reflex arc.